Crossover time. Willard Dibs in the house.
Watch out.
What's up, Chance?
Watch out. What's going on?
Dancing.
What's up?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going crazy.
We're arguing. Mark
Why?
Abana's Texas. We'll have him on tomorrow. He's got a bone to pick.
What Mark
Oh, this
said?
is. Oh.
Yeah. No, we were having some conversation.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know you were booking guests now without anybody's.
I went
input.
to heaven. I talked to heaven. We couldn't find. You were out there
I like Mark.
mingling.
Get your camera. You're a good looking dude. We wanna
Oh,
see you.
wow.
Get your camera.
Good God.
Get your.
I was about to get Steiny. Now I'm losing my thought. Oh, tell them what we argued over about Luciano.
Oh, yeah. I've been waiting for this. You almost broke it to me an hour ago, and then everybody was like, save it for the show. Well, here we are. What you got? Show me what you're working with.
To me, Luciano and
Shake that
Farhan
take.
was small potatoes in the grand scheme of things.
Wait, Luciano, what about who's small potatoes?
He is hell-bent that Farhan has messed up Luciano.
No. Yesterday in the Buster Posey presser, scouting came up.
Yes.
And all I said is, you are right, Steiny.
Oh, thanks.
He inherited Luciano. But the fact that the world got to find out that young man with some potential had no business as shortstop, I'm blaming that on the scouts. If I were Farhan, on how did we not know this? How are we finding out on a road game in Pittsburgh and New York that he has trouble fielding? So when Buster mentioned scouting, I just brought up, he was like, well, Farhan didn't like him and he probably knew he was no good. I said, even if that's the fact, they should have him in right field or left field when he came up. And that's how we just started.
That's all fair.
Yeah,
like he didn't.
It's on Farhan.
Well, he didn't. So he didn't draft him, but to
I
get.
don't think so.
Well, no. Okay, maybe rephrase it. I don't know about who it's on, but to get to this point is, I agree with you, is kind of unfathomable that your organization can put so much hope into one player for 4 years.
Yes.
And by the way, don't get it twisted. I heard whispers 2-3 years ago that he's, quote, not a shortstop. But the idea was he would profile more as a third baseman, and some said maybe even outfield. But the idea now, I didn't know, was because he had a brick on his hand when he went to the
frying pan.
Like, good Lord.
He's a brick.
Yeah, like, I mean, I didn't know that. So to get to this point where then you finally, by the way, at the end of the year, say he's our starting shortstop next year, and then you roll him out, and you're like, how on earth did we get here? Yes, that's on everybody.
Yeah, and I was telling Steiny, the scouts too, or Farhan, not to know, hey, report to me. How's this kid doing down there?
It's less to me on whoever drafted him, because you're drafting a 16-year-old and you're like, he profiles as XYZ.
Exactly.
But to not either work with him or pivot when you realize that that's not it, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like a program director who takes a job and sees that there is a diamond in the rough, and he decides to cultivate that diamond in the rough and make him the star of the station. And that's you, Goo. And, Matt Nahigian didn't hire you, but when he found you, when he discovered you,
your facial expression's amazing right now.
Little boy.
You're not Luciano, but his job when he took over the station was to look at the talent and decide who could do what, where, and how you could do it. And Farhan's job when he takes over that spot is, what do we have? What do you got? As some would say. And then you look at Luciano, and your job is to figure out, is he any good? And if he is, what's he good at? And shortstop is not it.
And you have scouts that report to you, right? Because I'm not going to watch every game of them, and that's all I was telling
Well, he
Steiny.
just fired 4 scouts before he got fired himself.
They need a scout once he's in your organization. Then you ask the coaching staff and the guys who are with him every day how he's doing.
Yeah, you have a farm director. And they do. They get the reports every day.
But the bottom line is he should have been shagging balls at another position if what you're saying is correct, or it was a whisper.
Well, I would argue they've admitted that. That's what they're sending him to do in the fall league right now. That's where he is. He's in the
7 years into the minor league career.
Wow.
It was, for me, it was square peg, round hole, and I'm not going to put myself into Farhan's mind, but you see what he could be, and you look at shortstop, and you think what added value that would be to have a shortstop who could do that, and you think, man, I want that. I want that at shortstop, because then I can get left field, first base, right field, third base. I can get all these other spots who can do what he does, but I have a shortstop.
And I feel like that's why they said bye-bye to Crawford.
Well, hold on. Back up to a year before.
Back that thing up.
Before they said Marco Luciano is going to be our starting shortstop next year. What did they do at the beginning of the year?
Nick Ahmed.
They tried to sign Carlos Correa to a 13-year contract. So don't tell me that you didn't know that he's not the shortstop of your future less than 2 years ago.
But Nick Ahmed's a great point.
No, I know, but I'm talking about before the year.
That was after.
No, you're right. You're right.
Before last year, not before this year. Before last year, you had Brandon Crawford and Luciano on the come, and you tried to sign a shortstop for 13 years. So at that point,
there it is.
To me, there's a clue that you're not sold on Luciano at short. So why didn't you start using that year to try some different things? And I know he got hurt and whatnot.
No doubt.
He's never played a game of outfield in his life.
Well, you had Trey Lance in camp, and you really didn't want Jimmy G around, but you weren't totally sure, so you kept Jimmy G on field 5, and then he got up to field 4, and then field 3, and, well, we're going to keep Jimmy G. And, yeah, it was because Trey got hurt, but you had all kinds of fallback plans, including Sudsy, Nate Sudfeld, because of that very thing. You weren't sold on it.
Well, and the willingness, and I'll always give Kyle some credit for this, even in the midst of making a horrible draft pick and all of that stuff. I think it's really hard for executives who buy in on something to then admit, we need to pivot. Like for Kyle to go to the owner at the end of that camp and go, hey, Brock, don't tell anyone, but Brock Purdy's the best of the 3. That's a good admission. Like, that's a mistake that you made, and you're willing to be like, hey, we were wrong, but check this out. What about this?
You normally don't get that cologne.
That's what the Giants should have done.
Well, and Shanahan only got the free pass because Brock Purdy's turned out to be the sauce. If Brock Purdy would have turned out to be, a seventh-round pick.
Yeah,
exactly.
Any other seventh-round pick.
Shanahan would be an offensive coordinator and stuff
and these
in Jacksonville.
Would be burning up right now for his head.
Well, you'd have a new head coach by now. He still wouldn't be here and stuff.
Maybe. Like, it depends on what do you do at the quarterback position, right? Maybe who knows who would have come in next.
Yeah, I don't think that he would have gotten a shot to get the next.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all hypotheticals. But
like he's been in the NFC title game every year, and I know that Brock has a huge hand in that. But they went the year before Brock too.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know where it would have gone.
When I look at Farhan and the Luciano situation, I think, okay, did it go perfect? No. Is it Farhan's fault? No. I just don't think so. I think he gets to this organization, there's a young prospect there, and everybody is saying this guy's going to be good, good, good. What if 2 weeks after Farhan got there, he's like, I don't see it with this kid. What's he going to play? They say he's a shortstop. All right, let's give him a run at shortstop. And he might not have a position. And so they brought him up as a shortstop. Maybe they even had their fingers crossed. But now they see he can't play shortstop. But I can't blame Farhan for a pick he didn't make and a player who may not be able to break through.
Well, okay, a few things.
But I'm not saying they handled him perfectly.
No, right. Like, A, why not pivot earlier? B, why say to the assembled media he's our starting shortstop next year?
Why not hit him a fungo one time and see how he handles it?
I'm more interested in he got here in what, 16 or 17?
17.
Like,
late 17.
You're absolutely right. Why did they say last year he was the shortstop? I would be more interested in, why didn't they come off him at shortstop in 2020? Like, that to me is fair game.
And
that's all we're saying.
If he did come in,
he might not be able to play anywhere.
Right, but look, he came in, and what did he do right away? The organization had just drafted Joey Bart. And what did he do?
Yeah.
Drafted another one.
Catcher.
Drafted another one because I think he looked at Joey and was like, I don't think that's right. And jury might still be out. Yeah, he might actually ended up being wrong. But you get what I'm saying. Like, if that was his assessment, if he comes in and goes, I'm not big on Luciano, then my gosh, you should have been pivoting much earlier. You should have been figuring out another plan at shortstop. After all of this, Correa and Luciano, where do the Giants sit today at shortstop?
Needing one.
Ground zero.
Kim.
No doubt.
And that is on him. That's
the
on
shortstop position.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So the other thing is I believe, first of all, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I do think that at the end of what was the year? Luciano's going to be our shortstop. Even if they wanted Correa at that point, they probably were still going to say Luciano's our shortstop. They weren't going to say, we're going to go out and get a big boy. Like, once they thought they could get Correa, well, he just leapfrogs Luciano.
Sure.
And then they didn't follow through with Correa or whatever happened there. And then, all right, well, we still got Luciano playing short. Let's eventually see what he can do.
I just like something on the minor league level must have looked differently though. That's what I don't
kind
get.
of agree with that.
Look at his fielding numbers. He was an error machine at every level.
Right, but
somebody dropped the ball.
Not all
He
errors
dropped the ball, literally.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not all errors are built the same. The most concerning thing about Luciano, there's one thing to have a hard time with the glove, especially as a young player. It's another thing where, like, you pick up the ball and you literally don't know where to go.
Man.
He has no baseball instinct. None.
This is making it worse.
Yes, this is a further concern beyond his position. I don't know if he knows how to run the bases. I don't know if he knows situational baseball. It appeared when we watched him that he often did not. And that, to me, I mean, I don't know how after all these minor league games they could not have assessed that by now.
Do you think, like, why did they bring him up to play shortstop this year? Do you think? Do you think they knew
they had a need at that position?
It was dire.
They don't have one. I mean, Nick Ahmed, they signed 8 days before the year started or something like that.
Booted him.
Do you think that even his performance was shockingly bad for those who have been watching him for 5 or 6 years?
I would have to think so.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And also, I think he was hitting really well at AAA at the time.
That's his
and
thing.
So you were looking at, relative to what he did the rest of the year.
No power.
Right. Gap to gap, though, a lot of doubles, and the batting average was good. And so you thought an injection of offense, and you didn't think that he'd be that bad defensively at shortstop. And then he was. And then Tyler Fitzgerald came in and changed the fortune at shortstop for now. But you still, like Mark said, you're probably at ground zero going in the offseason again at shortstop.
I mean, it's the number one position they need to address. Man. In free agency or trade. No question.
No, Snell's the number one priority.
No, he's not.
Who?
And by the way, I said position.
Yeah.
Position. Non-pitcher.
Yeah.
Non-pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the number one hole. Because Fitzgerald should move to second. Mm-hmm. He should take over second base.
All right.
I think.
There's one other thing.
Devontae.
Oh, okay. We can talk about that.
Well, we have.
Yeah, it's because we're at odds already, Mark and I.
That's right.
Nice.
Big
You know what?
Pro, who's anti?
13 minutes late, so...
Dibs, he threw a shot at you.
So I'll tell you where
What's 13 minutes late?
that you're at odds with Willard. Usually you come in at odds with Willard.
That's not true.
No, he and I are simpatico.
I usually come in and try to figure out ways to get at odds with you, Steiny.
And this morning, I did him a solid at about 8:03 this morning. He asked for a favor, and I immediately broke him off a favor. And in fact, yesterday,
I actually asked for it yesterday, and then I'd remind you this morning, and then you broke it off.
and you know what? Favors that are not time sensitive should not have a born on date. And yesterday, I did you a favor, and it did not bear fruit. So
You did? What'd you do?
I reached out to my guy Baltimore Joe.
Oh, I didn't even say I didn't
about
know
a tea
that.
time at Presidio.
I didn't know that.
Baltimore Joe is
Look at
currently
Steiny.
back east, and
Ocean City, Maryland. That's where he has a property.
Yeah, he's got a second grandkid or whatever. But either way,
I would hope if Baltimore Joe goes back east that it's to Baltimore.
I've been
That's just
spending my
hope.
free time trying to help you out. So,
And I appreciate that.
end of me helping you out.
Wait a minute, why?
But go ahead, Steiny.
What did I do to end you? Thank you.
What was the favor?
Yeah,
He's your
symbolic.
simpatico,
He's
brother.
looking for a tea time,
just put
and
me in
I've got
touch with some
juice
people.
at golf
Yeah,
courses, and so I'm reaching
He
out.
put me in touch with people.
Yeah,
And people have already been back in touch, by the way. Thank
Steiny,
you.
you're so
good.
funny.
You're welcome. Now let's talk about Devontae Adams. And I'll come right out and say it. I would not trade Brandon Ayuk for Devontae Adams. You're going to trade a lowercase d diva, Brandon Ayuk, and I don't even know if he's a diva. He's a guy who held in and chose to wear a different colored pair of shorts. He's thrown no tantrums on the field. And you're going to bring in a capital D diva, a guy who spent his time on a documentary and is demanding a trade 4 games in to a season with the Raiders. No, thank you. I am out on Devontae Adams.
What makes you think he's a diva?
the way he has carried on.
Well, watch the Netflix.
Netflix doc.
I didn't find him to be a diva at all.
I was
And
out on that.
I mean, what is he then? I mean, Diva is a
Really, really good player.
That is
really
a fact.
frustrated with the fact that his quarterback can't throw him the ball.
Wouldn't you be?
Have you seen Brandon Ayuk do that even once?
Have you seen Brandon Ayuk play any games with Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Have you seen Brandon Ayuk get frustrated over the fact that Jawan Jennings had 175 yards and 3 tuds?
Did you watch this summer? I've seen nothing but Brandon Ayuk get frustrated. It's about this whole year has been about Brandon Ayuk being frustrated.
Never spiked his helmet, never in season demanded to be traded. He requested a trade.
Yeah, and by the way, Devontae is not demanded. He also said
he preferred.
He would prefer.
there you
And
go.
who the hell wouldn't prefer to leave the Raiders? I'm sorry, Raider fans. You're
Spadoni.
a fire right now. You're a complete fire. You can't watch that documentary and tell me that you don't understand why Devontae's frustrated. I know you were not big on the way he handled it, Goo.
I would go to the airport
you can
and pick him
understand
up.
why he's frustrated.
Yeah, I would pick an account. Listen, Brandon, something's going on. Friday just turned me off. I'm done. I don't know if he'll ever be what he's supposed to be. I thought he didn't miss training camp. Something's going on. That little hissy fit that you called it, I think you met me halfway, Dibs, at practice. I don't think you'll ever get the best out of him. That's just how I'm feeling. I could be wrong. And if you got a way to parlay or finesse getting rid of Brandon Ayuk early to replace him with Devontae Adams, man, I'd do it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't because Brandon Ayuk knows the system. Brandon Ayuk is a willing blocker, and Brandon
So what's
Ayuk,
up with, and I'm asking, what's up in your estimation with Ayuk now?
I think that Ayuk is playing his way back into shape, and I think that the offense is using other people and still excelling.
So him and Kyle are cool?
I would imagine.
I think something's up.
I
It
don't
happened. It
I
stemmed
mean-
from what we all watched it.
Do you remember
as
when he was in
world
the
turns.
doghouse? When he was in the doghouse, he didn't get to play. And if you look at Brandon Ayuk now, he's getting to play.
Well, it's a different situation
Totally.
entirely.
Yeah.
Like he's
It's really not.
Yeah, he's coming off of a
He's just
rookie
got
year
paid
versus
$30
now he's
million.
getting now he's the second highest paid player on the team.
Right.
And like
so if Kyle was really mad at him,
and Debo
he
was
would have
hurt.
other people playing.
Debo was
Charles
hurt.
almost
Like
traded him.
that's not realistic. The
And
idea of them benching Brandon Ayuk, and I have no idea what was happening 4 years ago versus what's happening now.
Something happened
But
this summer with this deal,
I
man.
mean, we've got source reports all summer long that Kyle is beyond frustrated with Brandon's behavior. And then again, so on its own, and I said this to you 8 times last Friday, I was embarrassed by the fact that we had to dedicate a whole show to the color of shorts that someone's wearing.
Are you back out on Brandon Ayuk? Because you were out.
I was never in.
You were out. And then you never got back in?
No, I told
he's
you.
been in and now he's out.
No, he was out, and I thought he was back in.
No.
But now he's back
He
out.
said he was out.
Let me speak to the back end.
He's only been out once, and it's right
this is
now.
unfair by you.
You're like a gopher right now.
He's just Steiny's piping.
You actually did a great job a week ago of exactly describing what I did, and now you're pitching it in a different way.
I'm just curious.
You know exactly where I've been. I've been out.
Like whack-a-mole.
And as you become a 49er and you're re-signed, I have no choice but to say, okay, you're here. Let's go.
Crystal clear.
But
You've been crystal clear.
I was out. I'm still out. I would trade him for Devontae Adams right now. I don't understand the allocation of resources. If you're going to throw the ball to him 3 times, why did you pay him $30 million?
He had 5 targets.
I don't get it.
But then you
4.5.
you don't get to applaud him when he makes a great play.
Yes, I do.
So no, I'm using
Yes, I
your own
do.
parlance. If
Why?
you're out on him, you don't get to be a fan of his.
Then you look me in the eye. Promise right now that every basket Draymond Green makes this year, you'll boo. You promise that to me right now.
I don't have
or
to
else you're a
boo.
hypocrite.
I just don't have
Yes,
to
you
be
do.
happy about it.
Don't
You're not going to boo Ayuk
Dibs, you'll only
I
have to
don't
boo him
boo
9
anyone.
times.
for the season. Exactly.
That's a good line. No, that's not the way fandom works.
I got a Draymond Green costume idea. I'm going to run by you off the
I can
air.
have an opinion and still root for my team, and whoever's on it, when they make a play, they make a play. I can also step out and say I would not have done that.
How about this?
I would not have
If
signed
Ayuk
him.
makes a great catch, you can't cheer, but you can clench your fist.
Okay, fine.
Just give him a
What do
clench
you
fist.
think that real quick? Friday was something. If we're gonna say that was just a ball coach and a player talking after what just happened, that's why I'm out, and I feel like that's what's holding Brandon back. And I don't know what it
Brandon's
is. It's
holding
weird.
Brandon back.
Nah, Dibs, that was something,
You know
man.
what it was?
You've been on the team umpteen years and you don't know the short protocol.
I said it on
Something
Friday,
happened.
and maybe I'm too dialed into infantile behavior. But I've got
what it was.
I've got a 2-year-old, and we're going to daycare this morning, and we're getting ready to go. And she walks over to her little mobile ice cream
Mila.
set, and Mila, she smacks. She goes to her little ice cream set, and she smacks everything onto the floor, and turns around and looks at me. And I said, "Mama, we're not going to daycare until you clean that up." And she immediately throws herself on the ground. And so now we wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and she wants to go to daycare. And I say, "We're not going until you clean up." And finally she cleans up. Much like Brandon, when finally he puts on the correct shorts. It's called parenting, Steiny.
Dibs,
Mix in
clean
some parenting.
clean up her mess and get her to school on time.
First of all, there is no on time when it's daycare. I'm already paying by the month.
You can't come in during nap time.
Not nap
I
time's
just
not
gave
till
you
11:30.
30 million,
May not
Dibs.
be-
Be a leader. I just gave you 30 million.
I
Be
gave
a
them
leader,
$2,500 a
man.
month.
Be a leader.
She'll get there when she gets
Be
there.
a leader. Something is up between the
Can't
two,
be too
man.
late, but you can be too early. But anyway,
Seriously.
Something's up, man. You
Drop
can't
off at
tell
7.
me.
I'm uncomfortable with how many times we've had to compare Brandon Ayuk to Mila.
That.
Right.
My God.
And I'm team
Mila's
Ayuk. I
two.
was, man.
Well, you
but-
can't
Mila's
be.
two.
No, after
2 in
Friday,
a
he
month.
lost me.
They don't catch a touchdown Sunday, you're back in.
I don't work that way.
No, that's how you work.
That would be his first touchdown pass that he
And
caught
if you
this
think
year.
that's just him playing himself back into shape, then that's denial. Something else is going on, man.
Someone explain
Longest
to me,
river in the world, by the way.
Explain to me why the 49ers did this. If this was the way they were going to play it, why'd you pay him?
And Jawan's emergence
I have
makes
a
it
theory on
worse.
that, but
I
it's
don't
going to have to be a walk-off.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
You do whatever you want.
You want a drum roll?
You know what? Why? Well, Evan's busy.
Steve Kerr and Greg Cosell on the show today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They did it for the same reason the Warriors signed Jordan Poole. They will trade Brandon Ayuk. They will trade Brandon Ayuk. Take it to the bank.
Where will that news break?
That news,
How soon?
right after Schefter, you'll hear it on 95.7, The Game.